Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Pikel with League of Items, and we had a very successful first day on the sportsbook. I went 7-1 in my picks. I didn't talk about my Cloud9 pick or Galatasaray pick because there wasn't a DraftKings contest out when I did it, so I completely forgot that they were even happening yesterday. I didn't. I didn't. Make money yesterday on DraftKings, but I did pretty well on the sportsbook. So first, let's do the early game slate. So this was just for HLE against LNG, and then Red Canids against Infinity. Let's get up the scoreboards, and I'm going to talk a little bit about every match, just a little bit, and then the implications for the future, things to consider for the sports bets that we might consider making. So, yeah, I had red, and I had a game stack. The game stack didn't hit. I had red with Homalife lost, Homalife with red, so I was not a winner on that one. Let's just take a look at the winning lineup, I guess. So 240, so that was LNG with red. For the LNG match against Homalife, I think that a lot of the mistakes that they made were from the draft, and I want to talk about a few things that obviously became big talking points, because going into the match everybody was talking Morgan against Ale, saying that Ale was much better than Morgan. I didn't agree with it before the game, and I still don't agree with it after the game. Obviously this is a very good performance from Ale. This was obviously something that we knew was a potential outcome, because in League of Legends you can play the same people against one another 5 games in a row, and the outcomes will be extremely different depending on how the rest of the game is going. My issue with this game in particular was the draft. I think that first picking Aurelia overall was probably not a good idea, because you give them every opportunity to counterpick, especially if you're going to pick something like Sejuani. You're probably better off just picking Sejuani first overall, unless they had some kind of read, like Aurelia was a very important pick for LNG. So that was one gripe. And then going Aurelia plus Tryndamere, I don't really love that. And then, Deft on Ezreal is a good combination generally. And then Vista on Karma. I don't have a problem with Ezreal Karma. They did an okay job in the laning phase. They got caught out once or twice in the early game. So obviously the result looks bad. But Hanwha had a legitimate chance to win this game. They had a big team fight around the Dragon Pit, and Tarzan, who I said is the better jungler and is probably one of the best junglers at this tournament, made a great play. He had a huge Kiana ultimate. I think he hit either 4 or 5 people with his Kiana ultimate. So if you're going to do something like that, you're going to have a really good chance to win the game. Obviously, Morgan and Willer didn't execute perfectly in the top lane. There were a couple of missed gank opportunities. There was one, they should have gotten first blood probably in the top lane, but they weren't able to do it. So I'm not downgrading Homalife at all from this, and I'm not upgrading LNG. This is roughly how I expected. This is a game that I'm not surprised by. This was always something that was a possibility. So I had Hanwha at plus 150, which I still think is a good bet. I'd make the same bet tomorrow if I had the opportunity. So I lost that one, so I lost $20. Let's go to the next game. Red Canids against Infinity. So this was an interesting game because Grevthar almost died in the early game, which was like level 1 or level 2. Cody almost died level 1. Sorry if that was a loud noise. Cody almost died level 1. Grevthar almost died like level 2 or level 3, had to TP back into lane. Infinity had a little bit of an advantage in the early game. They used the Lucian and Nami pretty good, but ultimately they weren't able to maintain that advantage throughout the entire game. I think that Red Canids did ultimately look like the better team overall, so I'm not super surprised by this outcome. I had a bet on Red Canids at minus 150, so I won that one. Next up, LNG against Peace. Nothing to really talk about here. I had a bet on LNG minus 1600. I bet $20. I won $1.25. But I'm betting every game, so it is what it is. Hanwha against Infinity. This game I think a lot of people's takeaway from this is going to be that Hama Life is bad, because the game was closer than it probably should have been. A win is a win. I don't care if it's ugly. I just want teams going out there and winning. Now, you may have a point if you're saying, like, I don't want to play Hama Life on DraftKings because their games are looking really ugly right now. I'd much rather play them if they were looking more convincing in their wins, or if I had a larger belief that they would have some kind of high kill score game. That's the same mentality that everybody is using. So right now is the perfect time to play Hama Life on DraftKings. You might not want to overweight yourself, but to not have exposure to them, I think would be a big mistake. So same situation, minus 700. I bet $20. I got 22.86 back. So obviously I'm not crushing it on that one. Some really interesting sloppy fights at the end of the game that I'm happy that Infinity continued to try and make an effort. So I think that's good from them. Detonation Focus Me. So we got our first Talon jungle. 6-1-5. Steel's a pretty good player. Arya LeBlanc against Orianna. That's a good matchup for the LeBlanc. I don't want to overreact and say that like Detonation Focus Me is like some kind of amazing team because of this performance. But this is encouraging. Like, we want Arya on champions like LeBlanc. We want Steel on aggressive junglers that can carry the game, and we expect to have utility AD carries in the bot lane. This game was a little sketchy in the beginning, I think. Oh wait, no, I'm thinking of the last game. I'm kind of surprised by this build. Like, I just didn't know like lethality MF was like the go-to nowadays. But there's a ton of Misfortune being played. And the thing is it's really tough to differentiate yourself as an AD carry when Misfortune is one of the most important champions in the meta, because she doesn't have an extremely high skill cap. So your job as an AD carry, you might have a good like kill score, like you might have a good KDA, but you're not really creating these advantages. Like, Misfortune can take advantage of a good Gnar ultimate, or a good root, or Talon chunking somebody out, or Leona engaging onto someone. But she's not creating that advantage. And I think that is an important distinction to make. A lot of people don't make it, but that's fine. So I had Detonation Focus Me at minus 150, bet 20, win 33.34. Galatasaray against Beyond Gaming. And I'm telling you, after I talked about this game last night, I was scared. I was very afraid of Beyond Gaming. I think that we might get a good opportunity to play them tomorrow with people overreacting. But yeah, I was on Galatasaray. So the narrative got there eventually. So plus 137, I bet 20, I won 47.50. Again, I'm not going to overreact in this spot. I do think that Beyond Gaming is probably the better team, especially after what I was like learning about them yesterday. So if this is a buying opportunity, then maybe I would have to change some of my bets in the future or get more exposure to them on DraftKings. But I think that Beyond Gaming is probably the type of team that players want to play and will continue to play regardless. And it depends on matchup, because like if they have a soft matchup, then they'll definitely have pretty high ownership. Next up, Detonation Focus Me against Cloud9. So we got Perks with a pretty big Silas performance. I had C9 at minus 188. Bet $20, win $30.67. Very low correlation on all these kills, which is fine. They don't pay them to have high KDAs. They pay them to win games, and win the game they did. I'm just bringing up the contest for tomorrow on my other screen. And then our last match, we had Galatasaray against Unicorns of Love. So we get another Talon game. And this is exactly what I was talking about for Unicorns of Love. Like, I don't think that Ananasik or Ahahasik, whatever you want to say, is a good enough jungler he's not a good enough carry jungler. And that's going to be a big problem in this meta. So it is something that we're going to have to watch closely. Like, the Trundle against Talon matchup, there's no way that's good. Like, in order for this to work out for you as the Trundle player, you probably have to have a successful gank relatively early in the game, and then stay on curve ahead of Talon, and then like get a little bit of tankiness, and then like just overwhelm the other team, have them not be able to kill you. But this game got out of hand, obviously. So that is the last game from today. I had Galatasaray at -110, so it was a coin flip, 38-19. So I won that one as well. So let's take a look at the games for... Oh, I guess we should go through this too. So I was in third place. I was in third place in this competition until the last match. So this lineup, I think, was my best lineup. I had Steel, Arya, Utapon, and Gange, or Gange, I don't know how you say his name, with Ali and Tarzan, and then I had Hanwha Life. So at 223.43, and then the winner had 244. So he had DFM with Galatasaray. So Galatasaray just had more highly correlated kills. So yeah, at one point I was, I guess, probably right. I forget who was ahead of me. I think it was. It doesn't matter. It was two similar stacks to what I had. So good for Nult 0032. Good job. I mean, he won first and second place. That's 27 grand. That's legit. Good for you, my man. And he got there with a pretty, not like a classic style lineup, but it was a 4-3 with the team slot. You don't generally see that. You normally go for like a 4 with the 4 players. But hey, I mean, that's why you run out these kinds of lineups in the big contests. So congrats again to Nult. So let's get the games for tomorrow. So the first game tomorrow morning should be Peace against Hanwha Life. Spoiler alert, I'm taking Hanwha Life. Where's this game? Wednesday, October 6th. Remain logged in. Do I not already have a bet on this? Hanwha Life against Peace. Alright, so I guess I gotta make a bet. Let's see. Hanwha Life against Peace. I will be taking Hanwha Life. Oh. Alright. I gotta do it on my phone, so. That's fine. I don't need to do it right now, I guess. Sorry, I know this is riveting YouTube action. So Hanwha Life, $20 to win 21.25. Let's see. LNG against Red Candid, so I already have one available, or I already have a bet made on that one. Third match, Infinity Esports against Peace. So I have a bet on Peace as the underdogs. Hanwha Life against Red Canids. I have Hanwha Life. Beyond Gaming against Cloud9. I don't know who I have in that one. Let's take a look. Oh. I logged in, so it kind of logged me out on here. Unsettled. Okay, so Hanwha Life against Peace. Cloud9. Detonation Focus Me. Cloud9 against Beyond. I'm on Cloud9. at minus 163, so I got a better number than what is being listed at right now, which is always a benefit. Detonation Focus Me against Galatasaray, I got Detonation Focus Me at minus 150. So at minus 120, I'm not going to bet it again, but this is a spot where I didn't get the best of the number, so the line moved a decent amount, which is pretty interesting. Beyond Gaming against Unicorns of Love, I have Unicorns of Love at plus 137. Now it's plus 150. That's interesting. I'm not sure why that moved that way. And then the last game of the day is Cloud9 against Galatasaray. And I have Cloud9 at minus 200, so it's 20 to win 30. Okay, so that's basically it for the bets themselves. Let's take a look at DraftKings for tomorrow. So we have Hanwha Life and LNG as big favorites. I wouldn't play the underdogs, and honestly, I just wouldn't play on this slate. So I will most likely try to find combinations of Hanwha Life and LNG that shouldn't fit together, but do for some reason. Or I would maybe try to get some Red Canids players in my lineup, just hoping that it's a closer game. But maybe support captain wins, top captain wins. It's not going to be like, you're not going to make an edge through picking certain teams. You're going to try to make an edge through lineup construction. So let's see what we can do. All right, so obviously Ale had a better game than Morgan today, so maybe you can try to get Morgan in as your captain because he'll be lower owned. Tarzan is less expensive. That's interesting. Get Chovy in there. Try to get Deft. Wandy. Oh, so you can fit him as with double top captain. That's interesting. So let's try that again. Let's do it with jungle. So we have Tarzan, Morgan, Willer, Chovy, Light, Wandy. I mean, I feel like I almost feel obligated to play this lineup. 6,600. Icon. Move that off screen for a second while I put in my last player. I'm sure you might be able to figure it out. So the only reason why I'm playing this lineup is because I think it's a very good lineup. Like, I'm not going to overexpose myself to this slate. But if I chop it with like a bunch of people, like at least I gave myself a chance at first place. Like, I don't expect that lineup to be a unique lineup, but it's just $8. So I'm throwing that one out there. Let's see. Let's go back to my bets. I should probably put this onto into my Discord as well. So the first game is Infinity against Peace. Sorry, this is going to be somewhat redundant. All right. So we have Peace. Hanwha Life over Red. Cloud9 over Beyond Gaming. And I have Detonation Focus Me over Galatasaray. One, two, three, four. And then the last 2 games, who did I have? Beyond Gaming or Unicorns of Love? So I'm taking Unicorns of Love as a dog. They're, I guess, a little bit larger of a dog now, but that's fine. And then C9 against Galatasaray, I have C9. But these are some spots where we might see some bigger upsets. It's always a little surprising when we get those when we get the upsets coming in. All right. So I guess to recap, day 1 very good, went 7-1. On DraftKings, I ended up losing probably $70, 60, $70. But I think I made up for it on the sportsbook. I'm probably not playing. Actually, this slate might be a little interesting. Like the fact that I'm betting it as UOL C9, like you can make good combinations each way. I don't know if they're going to be unique necessarily. They probably won't be unique. What was I going to look at? Well, I mean, if it's a utility ADC meta, that's a better thing for Sven, because if it was a hyper carry meta right now, we don't really want to see that. Let's see. For pricing looks pretty generic. I mean, I could see myself going back to Beyond Gaming. If people are off of Beyond Gaming, I think they're in an okay spot for an upset over C9. And again, this is about trying to get unique lineups for DraftKings. So if you want to run out of like a 4-2-1 or a different type of 4-3, this is the time to do it in these sized contests. What's the multi-enter here? 150. Damn. All right. Well, I'm not doing that. So let's go lane by lane. Vizicachi against Bugax. Bugax didn't look bad in that Graves game, but I think I would still probably prefer Vizicachi. Just a better long-term history from Vizicachi. Solid Snake against Babip. I don't think it's a big advantage either way, so I'll take the underdog. Cody against Tally, same thing. White Lotus and Ackerman against Violet and Aladaric. I don't see a huge difference there. HLE is just better than Red in every spot. There will be people out there who probably have a different opinion about that, but I don't have that opinion, so that's fine. Fudge, I like Fudge more than... I guess PK played today, not Liang, so that's kind of annoying. I don't know if they're going to go back and forth. Maybe that's a reason to not play their top lane. Fudge is probably better than both of them. Blabber and Husha, I still think that Blabber is most likely better than Husha, but if people are right about Beyond Gaming, maybe Husha is better, but I'd be a little surprised. Perks had a great game. Maybe people are all in on him again. I love Perks. He's one of my favorite players. I wouldn't be shocked if you told me Perks is just much better than Maoan. And then Sven and Vulcan against Doggo and Kino. This is a spot where if I'm right and Cloud9 can get away with playing utility AD carries, then C9 is going to be fine. The question is, can Beyond Gaming pull out some kind of hyper carry to give them like a late game insurance and outscale through the bot lane? Because I do think that is the weak point of C9. So if Beyond Gaming is able to pull off the upset, I think it's going to be by matching the early aggression mid and jungle and then putting additional resources in the bot lane to kind of just create a snowball. Create a snowball for Doggo in the bot lane. And then last up, Galatasaray against Detonation Focus Me. Eevee against Crazy. I am a little afraid of Eevee. I'm not a little afraid of Eevee from the perspective I don't know if they're a very good player. Crazy, we kind of know what Crazy is. He's not crazy. Not crazy good, at least. Steel against Mojito. this was on the lower end of, outcomes for Steel in a win. 6-1-5 is an okay score, but like they had 11 out of 19 kill participation or something, so that's not very good. I would expect their numbers to be better in wins moving forward. I do prefer Steel. Arya against Bolulu. I think that Arya is just the better player. I like the fact that they got a LeBlanc game in. It does, maybe it limits their upside from a DraftKings scoring perspective, but that's about it. Galatasaray. I'm still on Detonation Focus Me. I mean, I still think they're a good team. If I'm playing a team like Galatasaray, even though I would play a team like Galatasaray on DraftKings because I do want chance at unique lineups, but I would still think that Detonation Focus Me's players are better. So that's basically it. I don't want to drag this on for too long. I'm not, obviously, after a day that I had today, like 7-1. I'm not going to fundamentally change how I look at any of these teams. I feel like I have my finger on the pulse. So I'm going to watch the games tomorrow. I didn't watch all the games today. I saw most of them, but I'll check out the review from some of that stuff. But otherwise, just watch out for my video tomorrow. Hopefully we have another successful day. And thanks for watching. I'll talk to you later.